build industry. Today, we are very blessed to have Ellen Abdow from Perennial Gardens in Boston, Massachusetts, to join us. She's going to share today about how life is as a landscape designer and installer in the Boston area is right now with this crazy lockdown and everybody kind of shut up in their house. So, yeah, I don't have much more to say. Ellen, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Good, Josh. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Now, I've seen you've won so many awards for your work, and I know you've taken me on tours through Boston for some of your stuff, and I've always been very intrigued, especially when you do, inside the city of Boston, doing smaller gardens and rooftops and things like that. It's just really interesting how you maneuver through a city with all this equipment and crews and all that stuff and create these really cool niche gardens. And I know you do big projects too, but so really it's very interesting. And so for how long have you been doing this?
Over 25 years.
25 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Goes fast, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So I know that you were a high school teacher in a past life. What subject did you teach?
Special ed, vocational ed. I helped people with disabilities find jobs outside, for when they were going to transition out of public school.
That's really cool. And what got you from being in that arena over to landscape design and gardening?
I actually volunteered at the Boston Flower Show for the Horticultural Therapy Association, and we had an exhibit on how to make gardening accessible for people with disabilities.
Okay.
We planned for months and months, and we had very competent designers helping us plan. And 11 o'clock the night before judging, our exhibit looked terrible. And this cranky old woman got everybody's scraps that were being sent back to nurseries. And she reorganized them, and the exhibit was beautiful. So at 1 a.m, I followed her and said, "Listen, you don't know me, but I'm a hard worker. You don't have to pay me. Could I come work for you?" And it turns out that she was a famous landscape designer. I didn't really know. She worked on real estates, where we were a specialty crew, and they'd have maybe 11 full-time gardeners that worked every day at those properties. And we were like an additional crew to come in and just do some specialty work. So that's really how I got started.
Everything went from there, right?
It all went from there. And I liked it. It was good. And then because I was a school teacher, I could ask for time off and, leave of absence. And first they let me teach for 3 days and take 3 days to garden. And then I had a full leave of absence, and I set a financial goal. If I made X amount of dollars as a gardener, I could leave teaching, and I doubled that goal the first year.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I hired students for a long time in the beginning to help me, so I still had that connection to kids. I
was going to ask you if the teaching background helped you when you started up, and if it taught you certain skills in order to be able to run a business better. Do you think it did?
It may have, certainly special ed skills, because everybody learns differently. So some people are, visual learners, some people are written. So I've learned how to give directions in many different ways and do demonstrations and things like that. But I think the thing that taught me the most about doing business was years as a waitress, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yes.
How long were you a waitress?
Oh, forever. From when I was 13, 14 until I was 21, 22.
Wow.
Yeah, you learn how to manage chaos, pressure, customer service, multitasking. You can do anything. If you can waitress, you can pretty much do anything. Those are the best hires too.
That's interesting, because as long as we've known each other, I've always known you as a very calm, kind of centered person, and maybe that's where a lot of that came from, right?
Yeah. I feel very comfortable in chaos.
Yeah, it's like a duck, right? It looks perfectly calm on top, and the feet are going.
Yeah. I'm with it. I can see. I like it. Yeah.
Nice, perfect. I see that Chris Major is watching. Thanks for watching, Chris. And Robert's on, and Christopher's here as well. Dwayne's watching. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So Ellen, if you had to pick one thing or a specialty or something that you do as your thing, what would it be?
Well, what we're probably best known for is the ornamental, the frosting on the cake in gardens. So we do a lot of, like you mentioned earlier, city gardens. If you walk around the public gardens in downtown Boston, most of the fancy gardens that you see are gardens that we designed and installed. And then we do their window boxes and pots at their door and things like that. So I think we do like very stylized sort of gardens that speak more to your emotions than necessarily functional. So yes, we do walkways and walls and things like that, but we really try to create an emotional experience when you go to buy one of our properties or through one of our properties.
It's really neat. And tell us a little bit about Rooftop Gardens. I know we toured one of yours when I was in Boston, and I was blown away. It was gorgeous, and the homeowner was so nice. He loves you. So it's like, how do you get materials up there? How do you start designing a rooftop terrace? I mean, that thing was gorgeous.
Well, I've studied a lot. So even like, we talked about I was a teacher, but mostly I learned by just taking tons of classes and courses and reading. And so around Boston, we have the Arnold Arboretum, the New England Wildflower Society, Mass Horticulture Society, New York Botanic Gardens. So I've taken a million short classes and learned from experts. And I've always been always been asked to do roof deck gardens. But I learned how to do them successfully from other professionals. So in particular in Germany, they've been gardening on rooftops for 45 years. This is not new to them. Green roof infrastructure is something that they know like the back of their hand. So we went out of our way to find those teachers and those professionals, took copious notes, wrote down where they buy what materials, what type of soil mix, etc. Cool. So it was a combination of having many requests to do roof decks. And I started I feel like I have a strong horticultural background. So what climate what climate in nature is like a roof deck? Well, that would be the ocean. It's dry, it's hot, it's windy, it's, harsh conditions. What plants thrive in those conditions? That sort of began our plant palette, but the infrastructure of growing medium, growing containers, I really learned from folks that had gone before us. Now we are the largest ornamental private home roof deck installer in Greater Boston.
That's really cool. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
That's super cool. It's something that's always been on my bucket list to design and build, would be a rooftop garden, but it's kind of tough when you're in rural Pennsylvania. We've done a green roof already on a project. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Really
that was pretty simple. Seed them, stack them kind of trays, but turned out really cool, but nothing like what I saw in Boston with you guys now. Dwayne says here, I was just there last year and I noticed the plantings and gardens more than anything. So they're being seen. Even in Chicago, they remember them. So
we love Chicago gardens. So we also we go to Chicago just to look at their streetscapes because they're excellent urban gardeners in Chicago, better than average, way better than average.
That's good.
It's really about copying, seeing what grows in different environments and then applying them to yours. And
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if the wheel's already been created, why reinvent it? Right. So figure out what works. And I imagine their conditions are probably harsher than what Boston experiences in the winter, right?
Or similar. Yep. Harsher or similar. Certainly the wind, right?
Yeah.
In the city.
Got it. Yeah. I see that Andrea and Isabel are watching. Thanks guys for tuning in. So tell us a little bit about, I know you told me a little bit about this, but tell us about this Boston Victory Gardens. Tell us about what it is and what your plan is and what you've done so far, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so about 2.5 weeks ago, Boston became really shut down with this virus. It still is. Where our streets are literally empty. And it was a cold, overcast day. I was feeling blues. It was the first day I agreed to stay in myself. And I had a couple of calls with clients. One was a woman whose husband has cancer. So she has decided that neither one of them was leaving the house. And she said the thing that she was going to miss the most was farmers markets and fresh produce.
I get it, yeah.
That she had bought a kit from Gardener's Supply on how to grow a vegetable garden in her backyard. And now I've known her for 20 years. I've done 6 houses for her. I know one thing. There's no way she's putting that kit together by herself.
She will get dirty. What do you mean?
Screws, tools, bags of soil. And I'm thinking it's a desire of hers, a big desire. I get it totally. But it's going to be very hard for her to achieve. And then 10 minutes later, I'm talking to another client who we've already put in extensive vegetable gardens for her. She's pregnant, same thing. She really can't get out. She asked us to drill 1,000 holes in a log so she could inoculate mushrooms in her backyard. And then she sends me a picture of a light box in her basement for starting seedlings. Now I know the price of that light box is over $1,000.
Huh.
So here's two of my clients, my demographic, that are willing to spend large amounts of money for the hobby, really, of vegetable gardening. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something going on there. Pair that with the nail in the, what pushed me over was I see on Instagram that all the seed companies are saying, hey guys, we're sorry, we're running out of seed. We're trying as fast as we can, or, be patient with us. And I just put it together that what we needed to do was bring people vegetable gardens. No one can go out. It's hard to buy. Going to Home Depot is so stressful to buy soil. It's also a pain in the neck. Like it's even in good times, it's heavy, it's big bags. No one knows which tomato to buy, which, vegetable is going to be successful, growing mediums. And so that we paired, like we're expert at container gardening. We are way better than average. We know what's successful naturally. We also know what's challenging for people, what makes that watering so hard for them, that they don't know which soil mix to use. They overwater, they underwater. Conscientious people have a hard time container gardening. So we just put the whole thing together, and then it just fell from the heavens. So we had this idea about planting vegetable gardens for people, completed, and having them be COVID-free, so that one human being, we'd get the boxes, we'd let them sit for 72 hours, the virus washes off. One person would plant them, sit for 72 hours, the virus washes off. And then one strong human being delivers that planter box wearing a bandana and gloves to your door, and you take it from there. So we had to think about what the weight of the box would be, the size of the box, how we're able to carry that box. And I called up my staff now, they're beginning to dwindle. Our workload isn't coming in as fast. We have really good people still on the team, not yet furloughed. And I know they could help pull this off. So talking with the staff, they're like, I said, I have this idea. Can you pull together the website and you would run the whole thing? Definitely is the answer.
Nice.
Within minutes, we come up with this name, Boston Victory Gardens. All of a sudden, we check the web, that domain's available. I have this idea about this guy I've been following for years through social media and through emails that uses reclaimed lumber and makes cool vintage things. And I decided to go drive out to see him. He's a 10th generation sawmill guy, really down to earth, really cool. I've only done 1 or 2 business transactions with him before, but I read every email he sends. I like him. I pull into his yard. He's making red cedar boxes for vegetable gardening, raised beds.
Wow.
So the size we need is a little different, but boom, there it just kept going. One helpful thing after another. The stars were aligned. We clearly got a message that this was a good idea.
Nice.
To go forward.
That's really cool. I'm really, really excited for you. Now, what different options do your clients have to pick from with these different boxes? Like, what are the different options?
Well, some of them are salad, so we're from Boston and we have Fenway Park, our famous baseball field, and there's a thing called the Green Monster. It's the Green Monster. So we named one of them after that, which is just like a classic salad mix. There's like a kids can grow box, so grandparents can send their grandkids a box, and it's all strawberries and beans and radishes and things that kids can eat, right? Cherry tomatoes that they can eat right off the vine. And then we also created some fun ones, like half-size boxes. One's called the Mixologist. It's herbs that are good for cocktails.
Nice.
Right.
It's good thinking.
People love that. So everybody we have maybe 5 or 6 recipe combination boxes, a salsa box, regular herbs, and then more advanced vegetables for people that really that want something more than lettuce. But everyone we've talked to about it has just loved the idea. I mean, and we kind of already knew that because we know that all the seed companies and all the garden supply companies are sold out and overwhelmed. Everybody's vegetable gardening. So we're going to provide it for those people that have a little bit of extra money to pay for it to be done for them. Or, have tried it before and been unsuccessful. It's worth it really what we're charging is not much more than what it would cost them to gather up all the materials themselves and try to put it together. So
that's really, really cool. So if people are curious about what you're offering, how do they find out about it? Where can they go?
Boston's plural Victory Gardens .com.
Okay,
Or
so
go to our Perennial Gardens website, and it's linked. And we partnered with a longtime friend, Jen Nawada from This Old House. She and I are just friends. She's now the official landscaper on This Old House. And we had been walking our dogs a bunch this spring, talking about the virus all being in shutdown. And so we brought her into the project, and she's just thrilled to we were all just so happy to do something that wasn't about this stinking disease and to put all of our energy into it and to do because I think Josh and everybody who's out there that's in the landscaping field, we really know that plants heal that. We know that. And that's what we wanted to do, was to bring something positive, healing, helpful to the community. So it's exciting to be on the good part of this.
Absolutely. I think you knocked it out of the park. It's such a simple yet effective, valuable idea. And you said if they can't get the seeds and they don't want to go build their own stuff, then you're going to deliver that happiness right to their front door, and they can see something grow and be happy and hopeful. And it just ticks all the boxes. Yeah. Now, how far do you ship? If I were to call you, how far do you ship?
Just within 30 miles of Boston. We just, sort of small circle.
Got it. Okay.
We also have a pollinator box for people that just want flowers. Mm-hmm. And then the other trick that we're doing, because we know people are lousy at gardening, and we're putting flowers in every box. So if they overwater and kill their vegetables, they're going to still wind up with the sturdy flower.
I love it.
Yeah. And that's part of what we know to be true. So we know how to deliver a product that's beautiful the day it gets there, that looks just terrific. And just filling it with things like lettuce and herbs and a tomato that's still about to grow, or a cucumber. Yeah. I mean, the people will like it that very first day, and then over time, it'll come in to be, maybe at the end of August, it will just be the flowers, but it will be covered in bees and butterflies. So it should be fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Boston's plural Victory Gardens.
Yes, that's right.
Take a look.
Copy the idea. Go ahead. I mean, we think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I did too. When you first showed it to me, I'm like, you're on to something big there.
Thank
you. So Susan Cohen's watching. Hey, Susan, how you doing? And I see said, would love for you to do a container class. Ellen rocks.
Thank you. I'll do a container class.
Yes.
But we can't give away all of our trade secrets. I mean, we really did work hard at learning how to be more successful than average on roof decks. And there are some definite tricks to the trade that they're all horticulturally based. Nice. But that's why we're so successful at it is.
It's your background.
Yeah, we really put the horticultural part into it, not just pretty. So pretty comes natural to us. We love it. We're all about it, but we want it to be successful. So no matter how affluent you are, everything has to have value. You really have to design stuff that's low maintenance, easy to take care of, that's successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got to make the people feel like they're the hero and they can keep it alive, right?
Absolutely.
So if it's really tough and they're going to fail and they're not going to be happy or come back next year. So that's cool. Now, do you recycle those planters? Do they give them back to you, or what's
the idea, because it's during this time period, is that they are disposable. So they're actually made out of red cedar and sort of funky, they've got a nice vintage character to them. And then we also found, so that guy is so cool. So that's 10th generation sawmill. That 1748 it started.
Wow.
And he's making them for us. And then friends said, we need a less expensive version. Those are too big. So we went online and we found cranberry boxes, which Massachusetts is known for, our cranberry bogs. And I found some made from the 1940s. They were on the third floor of a barn. and they look like the cedar hasn't changed color yet, and there's stamped on them, "Eat more cranberries."
I love it. I love it.
And that guy they were selling the barn, so they were selling the cranberry sorting equipment, and that was from 1920s. It was still like the cranberries were on it. They used it that season, and they're dismantling it, shipping it to Poland, and that's going to go into production. So we've just met all these cool people and cool products all along the way. The guy who's growing the tomatoes, he's probably in his 30s, but they've been a small vegetable farm for 100 years. His mom's dividing up seedlings and potting them up. And so it's just a big local kind of Massachusetts, found all the cool people.
It always lines up, doesn't it? When it's right, it's right.
It's right, exactly.
Don't question it.
Yeah. There's been no hiccups so far. It's been really good.
Nice. It's really cool. So my wife is watching. Hey, girlie, how you doing? Mark Hunter's watching, and Deborah Todd is watching. So thanks for joining us, guys. Ellen, tell us a little bit about your business model. What do you guys do and what don't you do?
Well, mostly we do, I sort of think of it as the frivolous and unnecessary. So we do come in post, like if you built a brand new house or you did an addition, we do come in and help clean up and put in patios and walls and plantings around that. But it's maybe like I think of it as more of an like you have to be a gardener really to hire us, somebody who appreciates gardens. Okay. We're not really just going to do a foundation planting and sod. You probably wouldn't call us if you're looking for something super simple. Yeah. But if you love to be surrounded by interesting plants, and maybe even if you have a horticultural background yourself, you're more likely to call us. Nice. Yeah.
So you do everything, but it's more about making sure that the plants and the gardening the horticulture is really a centerpiece. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And we know, like, we're honest about how big plants get. We don't put big trees close to houses, things like that. We go back to our clients. So like I said, I've been doing it for 25 years. And that client that we talked about in the beginning, I've done 6 or 7 properties for them. Like we keep going back. So we don't care if that tree was planted too close to the house. We're going to be embarrassed if that were the case, or if it doesn't live, or so
that's super important. If you have that kind of raving fan that follows you, or that brings you in on every single new project that they're moving around, that's a testament to how well you nurture that relationship and you take care of that client. It's so important.
Yeah. So this I think is something that's an honor and a little bit unique. But very often when we first meet people, we give them a cost proposal to go with our design. We almost never give them a second one. Okay. So then they see the work and how hard our guys work and how careful and how thoughtful. And I've picked up tons of work where they'll just say, Ellen, can you do this? Whatever it is. Can you plant this meadow? How about, can we have a wall fountain with a door and a patio? I mean, and no one ever says, and what does it cost? So we're very ethical. We work hard. We try to give the right product. If I drive up to a job site at any time, every single team member is working hard. Nobody's leaning on a shovel, that kind of thing. And I think our clients see it and value it. And they're also of that economic means that they're able to shop for what they want. And able to build trust like that. But that's, for me, that's a blast. The worst job sometimes is having to write the budget and negotiate and things like that. So it's a privilege I think we've earned by being fair and hardworking.
That's a really great way to say it too. I mean, it really is. It's a privilege, and you guys have earned it. You obviously have that kind of a reputation where clients don't have to ask the price. They know that Ellen's going to do the right thing and it's going to look gorgeous, and just let her go. That's what she does. And it is true that you need a certain level of income for that to happen. But at the same time, I think we can all, think back about some of our best clients that we've worked with that would trust us with anything. And they just keep saying, add to the job. We trust that it's good. But it's awesome that you have so much of that. Yeah.
And sometimes it means selling nothing too. Yeah. So to really be ethical about like real design. Sometimes we say, I don't think you need all of that. Maybe you just need this little tiny gesture. And so even though we have the opportunities to upsell or spend a lot of money, I don't care actually how much money you have. Like, I like to do the right thing.
Exactly.
And sometimes I'll just say, I don't think we should do much of anything. Let's just move this one thing over here. Then see how it looks. See if we still need to do that fence or whatever else.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially during these times, people's bullshit meters are on high alert. So if they have somebody coming in trying to sell them something that doesn't make any sense, and it seems like they're just trying to move product or move whatever, they're going to push back, and you're going to lose that relationship because of that. So I mean, now more than ever, it's a matter of trying to guide them to make the best decisions. And I think that's what you do. You're an excellent guide, and you're the first one to say, look, I don't think we should do that. I don't think it makes any sense. We can utilize what you have, or we can do it in a much more phased approach, or we can do it, let's start in the beginning and work our way into this thing where you're not trying to come up with a big number and just trying to clip them for as much money as you can. So that probably runs right into why you have such a great rapport with these clients who just say, Ellen, we trust you. You tried to not sell us before. We asked you to build something and you're like, you're not building that because it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's so powerful in sales.
And in being there for the long run. So remembering that this is maybe your first meeting with them or your first gardening gesture with them. But there'll be many, many more. Either you do the front yard only, or sometimes I'll say, I don't think we should do the front and the back because I'm worried that you can't take care of both areas. What do you mean I can't take both areas? So I don't even see a garden hose anywhere in your garage. Like, this is not your thing. Like, no. Right. So helping people, and then they do keep returning. And then you do the front yard one year, the front side one year, the backyard the next year. Then you do their kid's house. Then you do the house that they moved to. So by not trying to get all of it at once, by helping people make smaller decisions, I think we've really, and those are jobs, those are guaranteed sales, right? Like once somebody sends you to their kid, it's almost a guaranteed sale. Or once you've done one house, they invite you to the next one. They're just saying, hey, it worked out. Let's keep going. So those are easier for us.
No, I know from our conversation, you've mentioned how almost all of your work is word of mouth. And I can see when you treat your clients like that, how they be like, don't worry. You're new to the area. I got a gal. She'll take care of this for you. She's got the eye. If you like what I like, you got here, she's your person. She'll take care of it. So I can see how that really works well for you.
Yeah, we've been very lucky. We've never advertised. Sometimes we've donated, like for a fundraiser, we'll put an ad in to help for that particular fundraiser. But that's not really how we get it. Word of mouth just saves you so much time. If you can build a word of mouth referral system, most of the calls you go on you're going to, 80%, I'd say, are yours.
Yeah. And the best part is you don't have that marketing and advertising expenses overhead structure, right? So you can give the value back to the client where they don't have to pay for that. Right. But it's, it's really a good way to do it. Now, I see that Christina's on here, and so is Jonathan. And Christina says, Ellen is describing my business to a T. If I were allowed out to work right now, ! So, I guess everybody's getting a little antsy to get out and play, but I guess all good.
We're allowed to work in Massachusetts. I don't know why, but we're considered essential. But we've had to figure out how to do that responsibly and safely, and that's our greatest challenge. So but we actually are chipping away slowly, and we haven't figured out yet how are we really going to plant trees. We're doing all one man, one truck, anything where guys can stay 6 feet away from one another.
And that's greatly slows down production as well.
Everything harder.
So less clients and slower process. It's not going to equal higher profits this year for sure. You'll get through it. You'll survive. Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, I think it's expensive. I think we have to look at our numbers. I don't think it's a definite, honestly. I think sometimes there's going to be certain tasks and times when we're going to say we can't really afford to do some of those things. And keep the company healthy for when this is over. So we'll see. So far we haven't had that, but we used to send 3 guys out in a truck. Now it's 1 guy in a truck. That's a lot of overhead.
Sure is. It's a lot of iron moving with 1 body in it.
Yes.
For sure. Unless the other 2 are jogging the site, that's a different story, right?
Well, biking. We might buy bikes for people.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, it's a lot of places that you can go, and typically in Boston, if there's traffic, you'd get there faster on a bike. So maybe those, with big baskets, you can put your tools in or something like that.
Oh, the cart you got to pull behind, like they have in the Netherlands with the kids in it. put your trees in there and your tools, and you go to town.
Yeah.
And get some exercise too.
Yeah.
So tell us about who your ideal client is. Like who do you not target because they come to you, but who do you love working with? And I know that you've worked with some pretty cool people, so you might want to. I don't mind if you name drop a little bit.
Yeah, you can do the name dropping. So our ideal client is somebody who has an aesthetic that cares about the way things look and the way things feel, but that aren't overly directive, that they're looking for your professional advice. And they want you to disagree with them once in a while. Not just say, yeah, yellow and pink, yeah, we'll do, okay, green, yeah. They want you to offer your professional design opinion.
Yeah.
And then they let you roll with it, and they're not overly controlling. So we often, on plant lists, really what we want is maybe a plant that's a certain size, that's evergreen, or that's flowering. But whatever, 7 different plants could fall into that category. It doesn't have to be just the plant that we spec'd on it. It doesn't have to just be a mountain laurel. It could be an andromeda. It could be a boxwood. It could be so we like people that are willing to give us the flexibility to change our minds when we're shopping, to buy a plant that's better looking, a better value, that we hadn't thought of. So people that trust us to interpret the general goal, those people we do much better with than people that want us to name every detail, every item. Sometimes I'll say to people, so if I wrote down the name of all the perennials, would it really mean anything to you if I said Triceratops mycorrhizum, Geranium mycorrhizum? Like, does that mean anything? How about if I say something that blooms from April through October and, is in this color family? They're all like, yeah, okay, I get it. So those are people that trust us to do that interpretation. That's those are my beat.
Yeah, totally. It's you do get them once in a while, the ones that know all their plants and they like their Latin stuff. But I know we tend to do much better with the clients that are like, you see the design, we do 3-dimensional models. So it's like, you see the design, you love what it looks like. Yep, it's gonna look better when we're done. Just trust me. Yeah. And they're like, okay, no, it's not everybody, but they're my ideal clients.
Yeah.
Because it always looks great. And what are they gonna do? They're gonna change the color of a flower or say, I don't like geranium, I'd rather have it still be or whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Sometimes they just want to have that handle on things, but it's also nice just to be trusted, just to say, just go.
Right.
Yeah. So I see that Christina here asked or says day 47 of lockdown, waiting list is at 20. Estate gardens are orphaned right now. So frustrating. It's crazy. It is crazy out there. I can't imagine what it's going to look like, especially in areas that are completely shut down like that, where they can't do any maintenance. You're okay in Boston right now. You can still consider, essential and consider you can move, but and in Pennsylvania, but there's certain areas that can't. So what does that mean?
Well, one thing that you hear from a lot of landscape professionals that happened in 2008 is happening now, and it sounds like it's going to happen for Christina, is maintenance will continue.
Yeah.
So when people have made that kind of an investment in their home, they're going to protect their investment. They might not do a new project, but they'll maintain their existing projects. It just makes financial sense to keep control of your yard. So I think it's also very good, even though we're primarily a design build company, we do maintenance on gardens that we install. I think the build part is what often the maintenance part is what gets you through tough economic times.
Absolutely.
So thinking about that as a business model, I think is a really good, so when it's lifted after 47 days or 57 days, and I hope it's soon, there's tons of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to want her.
Yeah. So. Well, that's good. I think there's going to be this nice big kind of build up, and then once this lets go, it'll go slowly. But once it lets go, and then people are going to just get out here yesterday and get this done. I'm tired of looking at all these weeds or whatever, because they're going to try to sneak back in. But hey, Patrick, thanks for tuning in. It's nice to see you watching. Let's see here. We have next question. So is your phone still ringing? Are you getting leads? How is this different than a normal spring for you?
Oh, it's so nice because it's so much quieter and calmer.
You can hear birds instead of phones, right?
You can hear birds. So normally this time of year, you're kind of half out of your mind and you still have to get through May. So we're over, even no matter how well we plan in the wintertime, the spring rush is exhausting. It's all the people that you are good customers that never told you they were having a party, but now they're having a party. And in fact, they're having a wedding in the yard and then whatever. So they're add-ons to what you already booked for regular work. Mm-hmm. We are not getting a lot of prior to the shutdown, we were overwhelmed. We were booked and sold out until September or October for new installs.
Nice.
But like I mentioned earlier, I don't really know. We haven't installed those. We ordered all the trees and whatnot, but we haven't installed them. And I'm not sure how we can safely keep our crews safe and install the plants. And I am not willing to put my team at risk or their families. So we have to work that out. We're also not able to buy protective gear right now. And I'm not willing to take it, even though I could, from the medical community, who in our area, like everywhere, still is worried about having adequate personal protection supplies. So we are getting some calls. Some of them are tire kickers. Some of them are people that are looking for a bargain, maybe. Some of them are people that seem to not know that there's something different going on. Like, no total stranger. I will not quote you something over email. For what purpose, kind of.
Why not, Ellen? Come on.
And then our regular, somebody's daughter just called me to do her landscape project. That will probably be a good gig, but we'll probably meet and we won't be able to install it for a while if we come forward. So we're still drawing, we're still making plans. People are not that quick to answer the plans. Where in the past it'd be like, order it yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it's a little almost embarrassing sometimes to be sending them the plan, given what's happening in the world. So yes, we're still getting a lot of work. I'm thrilled that it's slower. It's nice, actually, and it gives me some time to reevaluate. Oh, this pace is actually better. What can I get from this time period to make the quality of my life better?
Absolutely. Since when is the last time you ever had a slow spring? Like as designers, that's crunch time, right? So now they have to be able to actually hear the birds and smell the flowers and take some time. It's actually quite a benefit.
Yeah.
So So you've already mentioned a bit of how they're handling the shutdown in your area. So you guys are still considered essential at this point, and you can still do all your different things. But I imagine at this point you wouldn't go through somebody's house to a rooftop garden, or is this where people letting you through the house, or how does that normally work with how you work in the city?
Well, some people want us to come through, but until the men have women have proper gear, I'm not willing to. And I think, they think, oh, it's okay. We're not worried about getting from you. Well, I'm not worried about getting from you.
It's just a two-way street.
It goes. And there's all these issues too, right? Like if somebody in your team gets infected, then anybody else that worked with on your team needs to be quarantined. And so these issues really could impact how you're able to go about doing business in a big way. So I think we're going to go slow on that. We have a lot of roof decks that need irrigation on. We're probably going to offer FaceTime turn-ons. We'll go in if they want to leave the doors open, and we'll just send up one guy.
Yeah.
We also might switch a lot of irrigation clocks to these Wi-Fi controlled clocks. It's a great way to upsell, something that we've been trying to sell people on anyhow. Now it's perfect. We're going to come in once.
Yeah.
And then we can change your clock, and then we can operate your whole system for the rest of the season without going in your house again. And we know that there might be another outbreak, or there's also certainly weather changes, that going in people's houses is more complicated. So I'm sure we'll figure out how to do it, but it would be nice to keep it more at a minimum for everybody's sake.
Now, you mentioned the Wi-Fi enabled irrigation controllers. And are you saying that you can manage those at a distance, like from your office, you can manage them?
Oh yeah, you can manage from your home computer, your cell phone. They're awesome.
Now, what's the brand that you like to use?
We've been using Hunter Pro C, I think it's called.
Okay.
So, but I'm pretty sure Rainbird's coming out with one anytime now. But and it was developed maybe 4 or 5 years ago, as I understand it, in Australia. They worked out all the kinks, and then they sold it to Hunter in the United States. And so it's a really good program. It works.
Nice.
There's some issue. You have to tie into their Wi-Fi and log on, and then you can monitor. You can adjust it. So we got into them because of the environmental impact. Like if it's really rainy, it will automatically, you can program it to say if it rains half an inch, water 20% less. If it's extra windy, water 20% more. Like you can teach the clock how to respond to real live weather. It ties into a local weather station.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And now it will let us also just either sit at our home computer or stand outside their house and say, oh, it's been rainy. I'm going to decrease it by 30%. Oh, it's super hot. I'm going to increase it by whatever. So they're cool. They're super
Absolutely. Now, does it have a soil monitor, like a probe that monitors the hydration of the soil?
That does exist, but I think that's used more on large properties.
Okay.
So we don't have that, but there is a unit called a flow meter that will tell you if the water gets shut off for some reason, that the water's not coming through, or if the water gets stuck on, which we all know with irrigation systems happens a fair amount.
Yeah.
And it will send us a notification right onto our phone saying that there's an issue at Mrs. Jones's house.
That's really cool.
It is really cool.
It's adding value, and you can save the clients some money, and they don't have to think about it.
Yeah,
so,
and we came about it really trying to be more green. Same thing. I mean, I really learn a lot from professional seminars. So I don't know which seminar I heard it at, but I never feel like I'm done learning.
Nice. Always growing, right? 2 millimeters a day. Love it. So what's your plan for the next 6 to 8 weeks, assuming we still have this shutdown in place? Are you going to be running your business differently than you are now? Like, what's your longer term plan if this stays in place?
Well, since the beginning, I've been sure of a couple of things. One is that I don't understand what this illness is and how it works, and I'm not going to try to learn. I'm not going to try to understand it and predict what's going to happen. I'm going to just follow the leads of our government officials and public officials and take their advice. And it has changed virtually every day, right? So I'm also not going to plan too far out.
Yeah.
Plan is really for a week at a time or 5 days at a time. And we're just going to be flexible and go with it. And at the same time, I keep taking the pulse of all the team members. You really have to find out, is everybody in their family and extended family okay?
Yeah.
There are people that are infected and there are people who have passed. And, that might be their grandmother, but it's still, this is huge. And as we can do more safely, we will do more safely. But I think I have to put the team first.
Yeah, no, you have to. That's your family, yeah.
Yeah, as a boss, it's my responsibility to make sure I'm not asking people to do anything that's not safe for the sake of earning money. It'll all recover. This too shall pass. When? I have no idea.
Every storm runs out of rain.
Yeah.
Bill Einhorn's watching. Hey, Bill, thanks for tuning in. He asks, or just says here, they just extended the shutdown to May 15th in New York State.
Yeah, I have a feeling Massachusetts will be the same. It's hard to believe it will be over by May 4th.
Yeah, I sure hope it's soon, but it's going to be what it is, I suppose. We'll just make the best of it.
Yeah, we just can't risk doing this over and over and over again. So I'm going to defer to people that know more than I do.
No, I agree. Once and done would be great. I don't think we ever need to go through this again.
Let's hope not.
Are you in the position where you had to, lay off anybody, and did you file for PPP? So I know they're two different questions, but where do you stand on those?
I did it all immediately. So I did it really quickly. So I think, Josh, you have shared, or we've seen some of the same talks, but even without that, I just knew, like, when you look at, like, when it first started happening, I thought, I can pay everybody all sorts of time off. They can get their vacation time ahead, their sick time ahead, and this will work. And then I did the math on it, and it was an astronomical amount of money for payroll for an issue that's not going to end. And the state government and the federal government have very good unemployment programs. So I very quickly laid off all but 3 people so they could collect timely. They haven't missed a paycheck really.
Yeah.
We talked to our landlords about rent. I called the phone company. Like, I just tried to cut every single expenditure, because to just put money out there to hope that it's a 2-week thing, it's not a 2-week thing. I don't know how long it will be. I want to have reserves for when this reopens. I'm not sure how I feel about the payroll protection plan. I don't really understand it enough, but I applied for it. And then I can decide if or when we get that money, should we use it or not? And the same thing with the Small Business Association, the 10K loan. Same thing, we applied for it. Both applications look like they're going through fine. Whether or not there's money, whether or not it's in our best interest to use it, that I don't know. But
Figure that out.
Yeah.
I know they just said that it was tapped out. What is it, 14 days into it or 13 days into it? That all that money's gone, that $300 some billion, whatever. So I have a feeling they're probably going to be adding to that, or they're just not going to. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out each day. But yeah, hey, Jeff, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. And Jerry's here as well. And Bill says, I just don't understand why Connecticut is allowing people to work and proceed. I know that there's been a lot of that debate where in Pennsylvania we're considered essential, but you see what's happening in Michigan where they can't even lift it. So there's really no rhyme or reason to it. It seems like it's all up to the governors to, enforce whatever agenda they have in their mind. So
my sense from our governor was that if business and commerce can continue safely, he was up for it. So for the very first day he shut down, put the stay-at-home order, he said that landscaping was not essential, but that we could do it as long as we kept the 6-foot rule. And then the landscaping industry lobbied the government, and they got it to be declared as essential. There's debate among landscapers, much like Bill saying, whether or not we really are essential and whether or not we should be out there. But we are choosing to chip away at it. Like, what we have found that by planting flowers, the response that we get by putting some color and cheer and normalcy into the world, that we are seeing that as being really helpful to a lot of people. The feedback we get from the few people that walk by, we get so many thank yous, so many people who say, it's just so nice that I just see hope in those flowers. I see hope in those flowers. So we are one person, 6 feet away from anybody else. We're wearing bandanas for face protection. We're wearing gloves. We're stepping away from people if they come to the door. We're doing more humble, quieter plantings, but we are letting plants heal. It's really cool. Yeah. We feel like we're giving a gift as long as we can be safe. We don't have enough protection gear. We have Lysol. We don't have wipes. We don't have, and we're not, like I said, we're not going to get them until the medical community doesn't need them anymore, until there's
so you're giving the opportunity to plant hope for people.
That's what we feel. We really feel like it's just trying to make the world feel a little less scary, a little bit more normal. And we're doing it as carefully as we can, and we're reading people as we go. So in our neighborhood, it feels okay.
Good. Yeah, and you're adding a lot of value to their lives in a time where they feel desperate, they feel locked up, they feel a lot of things, but you're actually giving them that small respite of sunlight and warmth and normalcy. So that's something huge. That's something we can all do as designers is, even if you have clients that are, kind of stuck in their houses, if you went and got, I don't know, 20 or 30 pansy pots, right? Something decorative, and just knocked on a door, set them there and ran. You know what I mean? Just something just to say, hey guys, just thinking about you, and walk away. That'll go so far.
Yes.
So you bring a smile to somebody's face when they can't or don't see other human beings very often anymore that either aren't masked or hiding behind something. So it's those little things now that are going to make the biggest difference when this is all over. So
in our community, landscape designers that are out of work or of limited work, they're facilitating delivering bulbs and pansies to healthcare workers. Nice. So all the nurseries are oversupplied. They're going to get composted, but instead they're dedicating their trucks and their staff to drop them off at Beth Israel Hospital. They made a huge heart out of flowers. That's awesome. Everybody who left and went home got them. They're now doing it at 5 or 6 more hospitals.
That is such a good idea.
Yes.
Such a good idea.
Really cool. Yeah.
So beautiful. There's a lot of good hearts in this industry, that's for sure. A lot of good, passion-driven human beings, and that's why I love it.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. So let's see here. Christina said, what's your container design install strategy going to be if you can do them sooner rather than later?
Well, we're doing them right now. Like today, I was out there planting because we had the woman who's supposed to typically do it. She was recovering from being sick, not corona, but we didn't know, so she took an extra day. And so for today, I planted white hydrangeas with some moss, violas, pansies, ivy, mother fern. That was at one house. Another house just had pansies, pussy willow, stock. So the same stuff we usually use. Pretty fun, depends on the client. Lamia, melissum.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Little hints of spring, right?
And that will last until June 10th, which in theory might be when this lifts, and then we can go to summer. So
it makes perfect sense. Susan Cohen says, we did the same here. We cut our expenses to the bone. Yes. New Jersey allows previously started work outside to proceed as well as planting and maintenance, but no irrigation. Crazy enough.
Oh, that's interesting.
They have, it's when lawmakers start making rules, not understanding industries, it's funny how they fragment things, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I did hear that home gardening's way up, that like some home garden centers are delivering more mulch than ever. Yeah. That people, so maybe they can learn how to water their own plants, but that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a stretch there.
We have not noticed that our clients are good at watering.
Yeah. If it's not raining on it, it's not getting it. That's
maybe more.
So another question for you is, how important do you think it is to have a well-executed or even a sales process at all in place in order to grow your business? Like how important is that for you?
For us, growing our business has been more a limit of what we, so we have a bar that we set ourselves is this high. Mm-hmm. So if we can perform services at that high bar, then we can keep growing. But for us, I think we're more boutique, and probably that I'd rather do a small amount of things well than a ton of things mediocre. Okay. And that's that reputation building. Yeah. That allows us to charge sort of a premium for services because it's more thoughtful. Our clients can go to anybody they want. Our clients are not, we work for the 1% for the most part. They can choose anybody they want. So we're just trying to, really deliver top-notch service. As we've grown here and there in the past, we've lost some of that quality. We've had to pull it back. So,
yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And, you had mentioned about how much your entire clientele are raving fan-based clients. So really, there's not a whole lot of sales needed there, right? You just got to take care of them. And then that'll take care of the next person telling the next person. That's really the ideal scenario for any business owner. That's the sweet spot right there.
So right. And part of our business model is when they say jump, we just say how high. Yeah. We say, sorry, we're busy. We can't get there for 2 weeks. We say, today? Oh, well, no, maybe, but tomorrow,
That's good though. But that's how you build that rapport and you build that relationship. So it's super important. How has this outbreak changed your business? I know it's early on yet, but what are some things you can see are going to be long-term changes that will happen to your business, either through the way you sell or what you install? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, how we do work is radically different. So if we really are emphasizing that our employee safety is first and paramount, and as an employer, that my obligation is to my clients and also to my employees, that I have to make sure both constituencies are safe. I do not see us being able to do the volume of work for a while. Yeah. I think it's going to rely more on machinery. I have a job where we're supposed to plant over 50 16 to 22 foot trees. Human beings are required to help those teams. They cannot be 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Now that's like a landscaper's dream gig, right? We all would love to do that. I can pick any plants I want. I said, I think you need 50. He said, okay, give me 25% more than that. So that's like, now I can't do that. The other day, he's the guy, he sent me a text saying, hope everybody's well. I don't know how your business has been affected. I just want to know if you need any cash, let me know. I'm happy to pay in advance and we can work it off later. Like these are really darn good clients. Now the
That's right.
underlying story of that is he's saying, I still really want those 50 trees, Al, and I want them big like we talked about. I don't want to see that White House. I don't want to see that lady.
Yeah.
And so are we getting there? So it's been a couple of weeks. Are we getting there?
Yeah.
So we're going to have to figure out how to deliver for that. But until we have masks, until we have gear, until we have some reassurance that children and grandparents aren't going to get sick from our, maybe we think we're strong enough to recover from it, but the people in our other circles might not be strong enough to recover. And I just can't, the money isn't worth it to me. It's 1 year, it's maybe 2 years in the whole scheme of life. Guys, we can wait. We can handle this.
Yeah.
We're not hungry. We got a long way to go before we're hungry.
Yeah, it's true.
I think we have to take care of each other. So
I agree. That's definitely important. It's definitely important, but it would be nice to have a better understanding of why certain rules are in place. And it'll be interesting at the end of this to see whether it was an overreaction or whether it was an underreaction, whether it happened on time. But there's nothing we can do about that now, is there?
I don't think we'll know. And I think that we also all have different tolerance levels. When I drive around in the suburbs, there's a number of landscapers out working. There's a number of people still planting trees. And then I also see on social media and through, colleagues, people who say, please, everybody don't go out. Big companies that are saying that. Now, how long their clients will say, I'm tired. There's going to be a point where our clients say, I'm tired of waiting for you. Like we understand, but is now the time? Now can you come over? Now can you plant those trees? Because I see these guys down the street and they're willing to do it. That'll make me nervous because I want that planting gig.
Exactly.
I know that he'll wait a year. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to be safe. Client just offered to sew us all masks today. We were in.
You really do have the awesomest clients, though. I'm telling you. I love it. So if there was one piece of advice you could give to other, design build companies out there, what would it be?
I think be authentic. Deliver, earn your worth. Don't do your homework, study, learn, be skilled, be thoughtful, try really hard, think about good value, across the board on every level. Like, don't blindside clients, treat them with respect and appreciation that they're trusting you to make their home different. They're trusting you to spend their money wisely. We can all do that. We just have to take our time. We have to read books. We have to go to lectures. We have to listen to them. We have to ask questions so that we really understand what is it that they're after. And we have to help them make decisions that are maybe better than what they started off. Anybody can say, and I learned that early on. I think somebody even said that to me. Don't just keep saying yes to me, Ellen. Tell me what you really think.
Yeah.
And I think that would be my advice is, form an opinion, and do it from what's best for the client, and you'll win 100 times over. You take care of them.
Doesn't Tony Robbins say, fall in love with your ideal client, not your product or service?
Yeah.
And it couldn't be any more true to what you just said. You fall in love with them, what they like, what they don't like, and you just help them be more of that. And service will always, evolve as they evolve. But if you fall in love with the way you plant a garden or the things that you love, and they move or jag left or jag right, then you're going to miss it. So you got to stay in their heartbeat. You got to stay within their range. So it's really powerful. It's good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what positive do you see coming out of this crisis when it's all over? How's our industry changed for the better?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you'd like to think that people are going to be nicer to one another and more thoughtful and kinder. You'd like to think that people are going to care about being present and having a home environment that is, makes them feel good, or maybe that gives them reason to stay home and to enjoy their outdoor environment. But I'm not sure I know what's coming. I think there's also some ugly out there that will come out of this. I think maybe we'll be slower. I don't know. It feels like, I feel like I have time now, time to cook, time to read, time to do things that in a normal spring, there is not a chance I would have that. Or watching people be with their families and for numbers of hours that they've never been with,
Yeah.
years, if not in their kids' lifetimes.
Mhm.
So maybe that's the good. So as it relates to the industry, I'm not positive, but
Maybe it's what they call the great pause now, right? All lives have been paused, and we get a chance to reflect on what's working, what's not, and in our business is the same way, right?
yeah,
So just take it one day at a time.
yeah.
It's really cool. Well, do you have anything else, Ellen, that you want to share with us before we wrap up?
No, just, thank you everybody and good luck. And, every day we're sending our blessings out to you all and all of us in the world and make it beautiful, guys. Just make it pretty out there and, do those gorgeous plants justice. So,
Absolutely.
and
Thank
have
you.
fun. Okay.
Yeah, that's the secret, right?
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Ellen.
You
I've
too,
always
Jack.
enjoyed your
Thanks for
company.
having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming. And so, yeah, if you guys know anybody else that could benefit from this type of information, we're going to be doing a bunch more of these talks, with industry leaders around the country to see how they're managing this COVID situation. You can direct them to, or you can even invite them to the S Express group, and you'll see the broadcast coming from there. We're, creating an environment, a group that all the industry professionals can speak and understand what's going on and get little pieces of information they can take back, actionable things they can take back into their business in order to make it better and to be able to serve at a higher level. So thank you once again for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. And thank you again, Ellen.
All right.
Enjoy
Thanks,
this
guys.
day.
Well,
Later. You too. Bye.